Assalamualaikum and very warm welcome to everyone in this room. Good afternoon, everyone. A very warm welcome to all of you joining us today. For those who's tuning from Asia, good afternoon. To our friends in Europe and Africa, good morning. And to those joining us from the Americas, thank you for being with us despite the early of late hours. My name is Ersya, and I will be your moderator today. I'm the events management lead at CrescentRating here. It's a pleasure to be your moderator today. Our session today is Beyond Halal Certified, Crafting Conscious and Future-Ready Hospitality Experiences. Over the next few minutes, we want to explore three big ideas. One is, what does truly conscious, inclusive hospitality actually look like in practice? And two, where is the gap between intention and execution and who's closing it? And three, what does the future of Muslim friendly hospitality look like? And are we ready for it? There are no perfect answer here, but what there is actually a hard one, real world experience, and I think that's worth a great deal more. Now, let me introduce to the two esteemed panelists here joining us today. We have Mr. Abdullah Basalamah, the Area General Manager and Vice President Rooms Far East Hospitality Singapore. Mr. Abdullah has built his career at the intersection of operational precision and long-term asset thinking. As Area General Manager and Vice President of Room of Far East Hospitality, he oversees one of Singapore's most diverse hotel portfolios, navigating the realities of running multiple brands, multiple guest profiles, and multiple market pressures simultaneously every single day. I think for me, he represents what senior hospitality leadership actually looks like. When it's done well, commercial discipline, cultural intelligence, and genuine commitment to excellence. Welcome, Mr. Abdullah.
Thank you, Ersya. Very kind words of you. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today. Also join with us, Mr. Dieter Ruckenbauer. He has been in the industry for more than 25 years. As an experienced hotelier, he led a full renovation and repositioning of the property, not just physically, but strategically, driving strong financial performance while keeping the guest experience at the center of every decision. I think his philosophy, which people first and data informed, is one that I think this industry is still learning to fully embrace. Welcome, Mr. Dieter. It's great to have you here.
Thank you for your kind introduction.
Thank you. I think before we start, a couple of quick notes before we begin. I promise to keep this brief because I know what you're really here for. We have some discussion points. We have around 6 discussion points. I hope we have enough time, and I will guide the conversation. Okay, I think we can begin. So, as the audience also might know, the title of this session is Beyond Halal Certified. Mr. Abdullah, you run a portfolio of hotels across Singapore that serve Muslim and non-Muslim guests every single day. And Mr. Dieter, you're operating a global luxury brand before, like Meridien in Bangkok. Each of you has a very different market with very different guest profiles and very different pressures. So I think let me start here with the most important question. So what does beyond actually mean in practice at your property? And where does certification stop and genuine hospitality begin? I think we can start with Mr. Abdullah.
Thank you, Ersya. Once again, thank you for having me and the panel today. I think for me, personally, certification tells a guest where the food is permissible, but hospitality truly begins when we genuinely care for the well-being of our guests, when the standards become the starting point and not the achievement. So when we really truly care for our well-being, we understand their preferences and needs, that should be the baseline of how we operate.
Thank you. How about you, Mr. Dieter?
Yeah, it starts really with the trust and authenticity and the seamless peace of mind, the feeling that everyone expects of a stay when being at the property. Guests feel really respected without them having to ask for specific details that are important for them to catering to their specific comfort. For us, genuine hospitality begins when the comfort and the indulgence coexists really seamlessly without compromise, without friction, and without the guest needing to ask for these details.
Thank you. Yeah, just like our panelists mentioned today, that beyond is not just a word, but it's an ongoing commitment. I think certification can signal readiness and credibility, but what guests really remember is human touches, the sincerity, and also the authenticity, just like Mr. Dieter said, and the efforts that make them truly welcome and understood. I think building on that idea, let's explore our next questions. So, Muslim travelers consistently say that having halal food and prayer mat is the bare minimum, not the differentiator. I think that's actually a really important signal for this industry because we already reached the floor, but we have not yet defined the ceiling. In your point of view, what are the less obvious touch points, like the moments in guest stay where your hotel has moved from educate to exceptional for Muslim guests? I think I'm especially curious whether those moments differ between Singapore and Bangkok. I think we can start with Mr. Dieter.
Thank you. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Halal food and prayer mat are not longer the differentiators in the industry. They are really the baseline or the expectation a client should have. There's the shift from adequate to exceptional happens in really the unspoken, very often invisible moments of the journey. The guest experiences where anticipation and really replaces the reaction. We're preparing an arrival document that includes not only the specific details of amenities provided within the hotel, but also what a customer can explore outside of the hotel. And if that's now the mosque information, if that's gender sensitive arrangements, or really providing meaningful amenities. For us, we look at exceptional hospitality is not about doing more. It's about removing the friction so completely that the guest feels both understood and entirely at ease during the stay at the hotel.
Thank you, Mr. Dieter. I would like to ask the same question to Mr. Abdullah as well.
Thank you, Ersya. So I think I just to add on as well, because what Dieter said, the thing that we do for the guests beyond the baseline and beyond, we need to make sure that we understand what the guest needs are. If I can take example what our residences teams does. So our service residences cater to a lot of GCC guests coming here for medical tourism, preparing way in advance. They understand the needs and the preference of the guests. So for example, preparing the dedicated cutleries and crockeries dedicated for our Muslim travelers. There's no cross use. That's one example. I think those little things that we do as well is important. For example, one of our luxury products in our hotel brands, the minibar, just like what Dieter shared as well. So we do similar as well. Having the minibar remove and replace with non-alcoholic minibar, specifically remove and to replace with something that's more suitable for our travelers as well. That's key as well. I think to add on to your question about Singapore distinction, I think in Singapore, maybe people are familiar with, we are governed by MUIS. MUIS is the government body that certifies it. For example, in my hotels, 2 of my restaurant kitchens, we had to demarcate the part of the restaurant to cater to halal food and to cater for halal guests. So this allows us the rigor that it plays in. This also gives us opportunity for a commercial angle that we could put in, because a lot of the government businesses, statutory board as well, requires this discipline put in place. I think that's where the distinction that perhaps that Singapore has put in place to make sure that we're able to cater to our Muslim guests appropriately.
Thank you. Yeah, I think what I find particularly interesting is that excellence often isn't found in the big visible initiative. Like Mr. Abdullah said, it's usually at the smaller, less obvious moments that leave strongest impression on guests. I think moments where anticipation replaces reaction, and where guests feel understood without having to ask. Just like what Mr. Dieter mentioned. I think we've also heard while the needs of Muslim travelers may be universal in many respects, the way those needs are delivered can be shaped by local culture, destination dynamics, and guest expectation. I think it's really a reminder that exceptional hospitality is rarely one size fits all. That leads us to naturally the next important questions. Um, Here's the tension. I think both of you navigate this every day, so I want to name it directly. On one hand, you need standardized protocols, procedures that scales, checklists that trainable, especially across multiple properties or within the global brand framework. On the other hand, Muslim travelers, like any other travelers, can tell the difference between the policy and the person, between a printed card or genuine cultural understanding. So, how does each of you navigate that tension? Can you actually have both, and where have you found the sweet spot? I think we can start with Mr. Abdul.
Thank you, Ersya. I think I would like to say that we don't find it as a tension. It's really a complementary across all cultures and faith. I mean, in Singapore, I think it's quite common that we cater to different races, different faith, and it's very quite well received across different cultures. So I don't think there's ever been a challenge to cater to Muslim guests or any of the guests of different faith that we do on a daily basis. It's really about the standard that we do is pretty much, that to say, is a spine. What we do, the local lay that we put in is be intuitive. Maybe, for example, we learn through time. Example, back to our luxury brands and our residences. Example, when we do housekeeping cleaning, is over time the team is learn. For example, when they do housekeeping cleaning services, they learn and understand when the prayer time starts. For example, is Zohor or Asar or Maghrib or Isha, for example, right? They make sure they understand this part and work around performing housekeeping services around this timing as well. So this sort of touch points matters, and guests do experience this. And more often than not, I think the preferences or what we do for our guests, or even any other faith, is really centered inside the room or the apartments that we have. So it's not really, it doesn't cross, and people don't really feel that it's being intrusive. So that's where I think that's the biggest leverage that we have.
Thank you. I think that's a good point. It's not a tension, but more like a compliment. Okay. How about you, Mr. Dieter?
Thank you, Ersya. Adding to that, what Mr. Abdullah said, we look at the CrescentRating certification as a baseline that gives us the global recognition and the framework. One that builds the trust both for us operationally, but also builds the trust for the guest who stays with us. But at the same time, it's equally important that we don't dilute what makes travel meaningful. Guests don't come to Bangkok for a standardized experience. They come to Bangkok to experience the local atmosphere, the vibrant culture, and staying authentic. And so far for us, it's about using the certification as the foundation, ensuring there is clarity and credibility there, but while allowing the guest experience to remain really much rooted in Thailand. I think the balance here is where we see the real opportunity.
Okay. So to summarize, I think standards create consistency and confidence, while genuine cultural understanding bring warmth and authenticity to the guest experience. I think building on that theme, I'd like to address concern that many hospitality leaders still have today. I want to address something directly because it comes up constantly in our conversation with hoteliers who are sitting on the fence about investing in Muslim-friendly services. The concern is, if I lean into Muslim-friendly, will I alienate my other guests? I think that's a false choice, but I want to hear it from the people who actually living it. So, from your experience, is that fear justified? And how do you design experience that feel inclusive to everyone without diluting what you offer to Muslim travelers? I think we can start with Mr. Dieter.
That's a great question. And at the core of our approach is a very simple belief. Hospitality begins with respect. It doesn't really matter where you come from. We believe in diversity, and we recognize that every guest arrives with individual expectations, cultural backgrounds, and personal needs. Our responsibility is to understand those nuances, to identify what really matters to each guest, to respond thoughtfully, and ultimately to create experiences that go beyond that expectation. When we do that, and when we do that well, we move from simply providing a service to creating something meaningful and memorable for every guest. And that for us is what true hospitality is about, and what we try to achieve to create within the hotel every single day for all our customers.
Thank you, Mr. Dieter. I think that's a good point. How about you, Mr. Abdul?
Yes, it's a great point. Just to add on what Dieter said as well. So I think I really feel that is the fear is a bit misplaced. Just to add on to what I said earlier as well, because I think once we understand the needs for the guest and what we do for our guests, every guest comes in. Take it as every different travelers that comes into your hotel have their own special preference. For example, we do have vegans. Vegans when they have a meal prepared for them, and everybody, a lot of other guests as well can enjoy. Or even when we do a special amenity, a halal amenity for our guests, it can be equally enjoyed by every guest across all cultures as well. So I think it's important as well. And just to add on as what I said earlier as well, because a lot of things that we do for our guests, like you said, the prayer mat, or even we do this little guide to tell the guests where to go and whatever not to do. Mostly it's in the comfort and the privacy of their rooms. Doesn't really interfere or interject with other guests as well. So I think it's very important that we understand where our guests are. And once we are consciously and knowing how to manage this, I think it's really easy to maneuver.
Yes, I think to summarize the point, I think rather than viewing inclusivity as a trade-off, perhaps the more useful perspective is to see it as an opportunity to create environments where the diverse guest needs can be accommodated without compromising the authenticity. I think that's really a good point. Looking ahead, I think the tools available help us achieve that are evolving rapidly, which bring us to the next of our topic. Let's look forward for a moment. So we have already seeing personalized room settings, AI-driven dietary preference tools, digital concierge service that anticipate needs of the guest before it's even spoken. And the pace of this digital is very accelerating. So how is technology changing? What's possible in Muslim-friendly hospitality? Maybe you can share what you're already doing and what's on your roadmap. Maybe we can start with Mr. Dieter.
Another fantastic question, Ashia. Thank you for asking that. I think AI is certainly extremely powerful. We see that tool as an enabler that helps to streamline many of the processes we have traditionally relied on. Hospitality ultimately remains about the people, and we spoke about that before, the individual needs. And creating these personalized wow moments that guests remember just using that particular tool. At our level, we focus still on the clarity, accessibility, and removing the friction rather than over-engineering the experience of the guests. That means ensuring that our teams are equipped with the relevant information and tools, so the responses are immediate, more confident, and proactive, but not really overusing the tool itself and moving away from that very important personalization and customer engagement.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. So the technology roles here, it's about removing friction and making guests feel more understood in ways that is seamless and intuitive. How about you, Mr. Abdullah?
Yeah, Asha, great question as well. So for us, I mean, Singapore, we do cater to, I mean, Muslim travelers or GCC is not a large market in Singapore. So it's catered to a wide diverse of travelers that we get from different parts of the world. But just like what Dieter said as well, so AI is here and it's something that we would like to explore. Still something that we are really carefully looking into. How can we cater to the various faith and travelers that we have coming in? So it's about AI concierge tools. So we're currently perhaps something that we are looking and possibly look at. We do have a typical paper form of like the map to tell a guest where to go, where's the halal eateries, where's the nearest musola, if you happen to go to the zoo or you go to Universal Studios, for example, so you know where the prayer times are as well. Maybe perhaps in the future, we could have this embedded into a digital concierge map. And because it's AI tool and it could be catered to different guests, maybe perhaps if you have different guests, maybe different travelers from different part of different regions as well, the AI concierge tool can be curated accordingly to cater to different guest needs. So that's one tool that we are exploring to cater to the diverse needs of our guests from different regions.
Thank you. I think that's really interesting how AI is evolving today and how we can more personalize our guest needs with that. Okay, as we begin to wrap up, I'd like to leave our audience with something more practical and actionable. So we have covered a lot of ground today, and I want to close it with something concrete. So there are general managers, directors of operations, and hospitality leaders are joining with us right now at the summit. People who will be back to their property tomorrow morning, or maybe they're watching it from their desk right now. If you could get every hotel general manager or any hoteliers in this audience to change just one thing about their property that serve Muslim guests starting tomorrow, what would it be? Maybe Mr. Abdullah first.
Very key is learn where your guest comes from, the cultural needs and nuances. And very critical is not every Muslim guest are the same. A guest from the GCC or a guest from South Asia or Southeast Asia, Muslim guests are different. So it's very important that the team members learn the different cultures that comes into your hotel when they have different guests of the Muslim faith coming in to stay at your hotel. And of course, lastly, anticipate accordingly once you learn, and make sure that, like what Dieter said as well in the beginning, once you know what to do, you prepare in way advance, it's done silently without the guests having to ask for it. That's where I think my final takeaway will be.
Thank you. That's really interesting point. Understanding the guest profiles and anticipating it. Next, how about you, Mr. Dieter?
I think Abdullah did just an amazing summary of that. I can't agree more to that, what he said. I think the biggest luxury for the traveler is not the pure amenity itself. It's the peace of mind that everything has already been considered upon their arrival and has been taken care of. So our philosophy is don't make it only available, make it really effortless for the customer who comes from any country, because their needs are individual, they're personal, and if we can cater to that, I think we achieve that what we want to do in hospitality.
Thank you. That's really a good point. Make it effortless. Okay, thank you to our panelists for sharing your insights, experience, and candid reflections today. If there is one takeaway from this conversation, is that excellence, Muslim-friendly hospitality is not defined by single facility, certification, or even technology. It's the result of a mindset, a commitment of understanding the guests, respecting their needs, and continuously looking for ways to serve them better. The encouraging message from today's discussion is that meaningful improvements do not always require major investment. Sometimes the most impactful changes begin with listening more closely to our guests, training more intentionally, and viewing hospitality through the eyes of the guests. On behalf of the Crescent Rating, thank you to our distinguished panelists and all of you for joining us today. We hope today's conversation sparks new ideas and meaningful actions as we continue shaping more inclusive and welcoming hospitality industry for travelers around the world. To everyone in the room, this conversation doesn't end here. The work of building more thoughtful, more inclusive, more human hotels is ongoing, and sessions like this exist to remind us that we're not working on it alone. On behalf of Crescent Rating and the Halal in Travel Global Summit, thank you for being part of this summit. Please join me in thanking our panelists one more time. Thank you so much, Mr. Abdullah. Thank you so much, Mr. Dieter.
You're welcome. Thank you, Ersya, for having us.
Thank you, Ersya, and thank you, Abdullah, for being my partner in this. It was a great pleasure to participate in this conversation.
Excellent.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Wassalamualaikum.